Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm a Ukrainian, and I have decided I will vlog daily from my country Ukraine since the start of this awful war with Russia. And in my daily videos I try to update you on the important real life situations in my country Ukraine, and of course I'm always glad to answer your questions and to clarify some facts from our history, our culture, our background, or whatever interests you. And today I want to discuss one question that I pretty often get, and I don't see like any reason to ask this question, but still this question is pretty often asked. Are negotiations with Russia possible? And my answer is no. My subjective answer is no, and now I will try to prove that not only it is my answer, but in general the answer of all Ukrainian people. First of all, if you go out in the streets of Ukraine and start asking people if they want negotiations with Russia, start asking people in the west, in the center, in Kiev, in Lviv, in the east, in the south, you will hear no. Because one of the reasons, and I think this reason explains it all very well, one of the main reasons you cannot negotiate with people who came to kill you. Because the only thing that Russians do here, they kill Ukrainians for no reason. And they want to destroy the countries, they deny the existence of culture, they invent Nazis, and like all people who are not Russians and they say that such nationality as Ukrainians exist, they are Nazis in their understanding. And also they deny all the crimes that they commit here, they pretend nothing actually happens. And how can you negotiate with this kind of people? So the answer that you will receive is like 100% no. And even those people who are in Ukrainian armed forces, whose children are in Ukrainian armed forces, people who were wounded, people who suffer a lot, people who lost their businesses, people who lost their houses, they also do not want negotiations with Russia. They don't see it as an option, because after such things have been done to you personally, to your city, to your country, to your culture, and even to the world in general, to those peace and security that we have lost. Because just before the start of this war, I do think the majority of us would agree that, well, the Third World War is impossible, nuclear war is impossible, because we have become too civilized. But Russian reality, Russian aggression, Russian war against the world and against Ukraine definitely demonstrates that everything is possible, and we have to be strong to protest, we have to be strong to fight back, and we have to be strong to win. So I can assure you that all the Ukrainians don't see the way to negotiate with Russia right now. So all of that politicians like who inspire this kind of negotiations, they definitely play the Russian game. Another important argument is that all agreements, starting from old agreements with Russian Empire, finishing with various USSR agreements and Budapest Memorandum, of course, all the agreements that Russia signs, they are not worth the price of the paper on which they were signed. And there are lots of illustrations how they violate norms, how they violate agreements, how they change the names of the things, like they call white black, black white, and you can all see it every day. Just turn on Russia TV or listen to Lavrov, but it's all very toxic, so you'd better not do that. Just trust me, or I'm sure you already know this fact. So even if we choose to negotiate with Russians, it means nothing. Like if you negotiate with them, what they will promise you whatever you want, or they won't even promise it. They will say like nothing like that is happening. And then what's the use of these papers? What's the use of this agreement? What's the need for them if you cannot trust a state that you negotiate with? Also, the most important thing I do know many of you tell me that well, don't you want to stop the killings of Ukrainians? Don't you want to stop the destructions of infrastructure? We do want. But the only way to do so is to become a strong military state with the help of our allies, and to fight back, to gain back our territories, and to become a very strong state that Russia will not dare to invade. And that is the only way, because if we start negotiating with them, this is just like Jews negotiating with the Nazi regime. Maybe they could choose like a different gas camera, but nothing would change. And the same with Russians. Even if they freeze this war, for example, for a month or two, taking the territories, for example, they will continue it in a year, in 2 years. They will regroup. And what is the reason like to negotiate? Why should we negotiate? Just because they believe they are stronger, larger, they have more people to die on this battlefield? Because no other reason. There are no other serious like arguments that we can negotiate. This war started just with the desire of Russians to destroy Ukraine, nothing else, to revive USSR. So if we're not ready to become a part of the USSR, if we don't want this darkness to spread closer to the borders of the European Union and to some other European states, if we don't want this dark, gloomy Russian reality, Ruski Mir, to grow, and definitely we don't want not only Ukrainians, but I believe like the majority of democratic countries and people, so we cannot negotiate, because the only essence of this war is the existence and independence of my country and my culture, Ukrainian, and language and identity and many other examples of that. Many of you write me a very clever quote that I agree with, that all the wars finish at the negotiation table. But one very important reason, very important condition here is what is the reality at that moment. And to be able to negotiate with new Russian government, not Putin, not Lavrov, not Shoigu, to be able to negotiate with new Russian governments after Putin's regime is defeated, we have to first win this war. And after we win this war, there will definitely be a place for negotiations, something similar. Sorry for the wind. The weather is really chilly, nice here, but it's windy, and I'm not a professional vlogger. You remember that. I don't know how to clean the sound. Just something similar took place with the Nazi Germany, there were some negotiations or something like that, capitulation. So this is exactly what we accept, and this is exactly how we see possible negotiations with Russia. So to sum it all up, I realized that first we have to win this war, gain the support of the world, lead to the fall of the Russian regime and maybe to the fall of Russia in its modern state of things, and only then we can start to negotiate, because otherwise you cannot negotiate with people who came to kill you. It is just like try to speak to a maniac who came to kill you and talk about his difficult childhood and do what he asks you to. We all know how will it finish. So if we start talking with Russia, and if we start treating Putin and his government as legitimate, after so many crimes against humanity, after so many threats that he throws at the world, not only Ukraine, but at the United Kingdom, at the United States, Poland, Lithuania, whatever. A person who threatens nuclear attacks, a person who violates all international agreements, cannot be treated as illegitimate, and we cannot negotiate with him. Maybe if people press on us, if various presidents press on us, we have to say we don't have that long table Putin will feel safe to sit at. So anyway, my most important message is that you cannot negotiate with a person and people who came to kill you, and our task is to win this war, and only then to start talking and healing Russia, because like 140 million people with very brainwashed heads live next to us, and that is a serious problem for the world globally. Thank you for watching my vlogs. Thank you for your subscriptions. They are very important as they give me a larger platform to speak about Ukraine. And remember, I'm always glad to answer your questions, so feel free to ask them in comments. And also thank you for buying me coffees and supporting the work, and most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine, speaking about the war in Ukraine, protecting us in various dialogues, fights with trolls, and maybe when your politicians, senators, I don't know, presidents, local governments, they have doubts whether they should support Ukraine in this war. Definitely it is important, because if we don't stop Russia here, they will spread their hatred, their evil, globally, and that is a serious problem. Thank you once again for watching, and Slava Ukraini!